So this woman lost everything. Let's call her Miracle. And Miracle's a big shot Hollywood writer. She works on shows like True Blood and Vampire Diaries. She is killing it in the TV writing world. But then, one day, she gets a phone call. And it's her doctor. And he has terrible news. He tells her she has a really rare form of bone cancer. And it's bad. It's so bad that over time, this cancer tries to destroy her. She loses a ton of weight. She's bald and constantly vomiting from the chemo. But Miracle is not about to go down. So she turns to what she does best. She writes. She writes about her cancer struggle, and she gets a couple of articles published in some magazines. Those articles catch the attention of some producers in Hollywood, and they love her story, and they end up hiring her to come write for them on one of the biggest TV medical dramas of all time, Grey's Anatomy. So she goes to write on Grey's Anatomy, and she eventually writes a whole storyline in the show based on her cancer diagnosis. She even gets to cameo in an episode. I mean, look, there she is right there. So things have really turned around for Miracle. Yeah! But that doesn't last long, because unfortunately, due to complications from the cancer, she has to get a kidney transplant. So now she only has one kidney. Then she gets pregnant, but she's forced to terminate it because of her chemo. Then one of her close friends dies in a terrorist attack, leaving her with PTSD. Like, damn girl, save some problems for the rest of us. So eventually all this is too much for her, and she has to take some time off from writing. And she goes to check into a mental health clinic in Arizona. While she's at that clinic, Miracle meets another patient there. Her name's Jennifer, and she seems very nice. And they quickly hit it off, they fall in love, and eventually they move in together. So Miracle's life is finally turning around again. Yeah! Until one night, Miracle finds herself in excruciating pain. So Jennifer rushes her to the hospital. They think it might be kidney stones. But here's where the story gets weird. So the doctor checks Miracle for kidney stones, and he comes back and he says that Miracle's kidneys are fine. That's weird. Thought she only had one kidney. Now Jennifer hears this, but she lets it go. Maybe the doctor misspoke. And later on, Jennifer and Miracle end up getting married. And I guess over time, issue after issue keeps popping up. And things about Miracle's illnesses aren't making sense. And that is when Jennifer gets suspicious. So she starts combing through Miracle's old social media. And she sees a lot of things, like photos of Miracle when she's balding from chemo. But she still has her eyebrows and eyelashes, which should have fallen out. So Jennifer sees a lot of things, and she's like, this is all weird. So she confronts Miracle. And after all this time, getting articles published, getting hired on Grey's Anatomy, even getting married, Miracle admits to Jennifer that she doesn't have cancer. She's never had cancer. She made it all up. And not only that, allegedly all of the trauma she talked about was a lie. She was never pregnant and had to terminate it due to the chemo. Her close friend never died in a terrorist attack, so she never had PTSD. It was all bullshit. So of course this ends up being too much for Jennifer, and they ultimately get a divorce. But to make all this worse, at least one of the bullshit traumatic experiences that Miracle was out there telling people privately was actually something that happened to Jennifer. So Miracle had been using Jennifer's traumatic experience and claiming it as her own. So once Jennifer discovers this, she's like, oh hell no, how dare she steal my traumatic experience? So Jennifer contacts Miracle's bosses working on Grey's Anatomy, and she basically says, please stop letting Miracle tell her stories because they're not really hers. And eventually, Miracle is forced to resign from the show. And apparently, no one will hire her as a TV writer now. And all this happened in Hollywood, California, so shout out to Hollywood.